Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let's get into this mail. This mail says, "Dear Mr. Joe Corallo's boyfriend, government name Perch." Uh, all right, yeah, sure. Why does DC hate minority women or women in women in general? All right, plot twist. Didn't see that coming. Let's see the evidence, as they say. Now I know what you're going to say. They don't. I suspect they're pretty indifferent, actually, to everyone. Corporations, it's become more popular lately that you assign kind of feelings to corporations. Generally, the most corporations don't really care positively or negatively for anyone. They care about the money or the territory they can seize from people, but the actual people themselves, like, it's why when the corporations do all this, like, we support pride, it's like, sure you do. If you really support it, you would save the money that you're making on stickers and flags and all that kind of stuff, and you just give it to LGBTQ centers and other things, and you wouldn't need to talk about it because, frankly, you'd want every single dime invested in this entire thing to go to the people. You wouldn't. Why would you even waste money getting a press release out? Why would you? Why, if you support Pride Month, why is it that the way you're supporting it is by plastering a rainbow on your product and then selling it for increased prices? That seems kind of weird. Oh, you're going to give 10% of that to LGBTQ centers? That's cool. This shirt costs 25% more than usual, though. I can't help but notice. So this feels like a bit of profit rather than support. But whatever you got going on, I'm glad you care about these important events and things. But anyway, that's why I always look at this cynically, and as well when people are like, the corporation's trying to twist everything around. I mean, okay. Um, all right. Now I know what you're going to say. They don't, but don't they? 20 years, but don't they? I need to start reading it more excited. 20 years ago, DC successfully convinced its mostly white male readership that a little Asian teenager could beat Batman. DC angered us by having an unknown half Asian girl beat Batman, and then not only made us care about her, but made us think she was the only person worthy of the mantle of the Bat. It's a weird way to describe. I know that the whole Tim Drake thing has got people upset, but to call him a little Asian teenage girl, I mean, that goes too far. No, I'm just kidding. Cassandra Cain was a distaff modern Batman, created in the same vein Dick was back in Bill Finger's day. She was a modern sidekick for a modern Batman, one who doesn't use guns, one who doesn't kill, one who can't kill. And by the time the original reader left, we, the readers, were convinced she was the only person worthy of replacing the Bat God Frank Miller and company had created in the 80s and 90s. Okay, I don't think that's entirely true. I don't think Cassandra Cain. I mean, some people like Cassandra Cain. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that she was she was not the heir apparent to like the Bat. They didn't convince everybody of that, but oh well. Where is she now? Batgirls, written by those two amazing writers. Somewhere in those last two sentences was some sarcasm. I'll let you figure out if you can find it. From the moment the writer changed to the moment Batgirl was given to a ginger land whale who doesn't understand tragedy. All right, this one's turned salty. To the fantastic emancipation of one Harley Quinn that made the greatest martial artist in the DC universe a fat mute. Fat? Was she fat to the vampire storyline that has Dick assassinate Batman and Alfred as opposed to Batman and Cassandra. Still don't know what that spectacle wearing wig loving Canadian from Casually Comics on that. Goddamn. P.S. is Richard is watching. Her name is Sasha. I like Sasha. I like Sasha. I think she goes into a bunch of the stories that I absolutely love in comics. But okay. All right. Well, we're in the middle of this mail now. We're on a roller coaster. One thing has been made clear: DC doesn't understand her. They don't understand her any more than they did Batman, and that's not hard to say. That considering the New 52 started with Bat lethally shooting Darkseid, Flashpoint be damned. But she is just one example and from just one company, the company whose product you weren't that much into. So let's talk Marvel and their treatment of Storm and Jubilee and X-23, and the list goes on and on. Modern writers want to pretend they're progressive. They want to pretend they're feminists. They want us to believe them to be social justice warriors. So why is it that the more progressive the big two have gotten, the worse written and less memorable and compelling their female characters have gotten? I can only recall two female comic book characters created in the last decade, Yara Flor and Punchline, and that second one mainly because of the aforementioned Casually Comics YouTube channel. What the fuck happened to the big two? And we've sort of made some of this point before, but how did they become more progressive yet less so at the same time? Well, I told that story at the beginning about the company selling Pride merch. That wasn't just a random story. That there's an analogy there that you can kind of you might apply to this particular situation. But anyway, how did we get from the next Batman can't be anyone but Cassandra Cain? Again, I'm not there. To it can only be one of those few white dudes, and I'm a hetero white dude myself. Really? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. How did we go from X-23 is her own very interesting character, and we want to see more of her, to let's give Logan a sex change and keep on keeping on? What the fuck is wrong with the progressives in the U.S., Mr. Texan? Ooh, that hurts. A European viewer. That does hurt. Okay. So lot to unpack there. So let's take out the land whale and the other YouTubers and all that kind of stuff for a moment, and get to so there it is. So this is my opinion, and I've mentioned on this channel quite a bit. Is there were more progressive stories. This is my kind of general thesis. There were more progressive stories, more empowerment stories 20, 30 years ago, maybe 30, 40 years ago, than there are today. They're putting characters into the limelight. Like, it's finally time for a Batgirls comic. It's finally time we had LGBTQ representation. But the stuff is so shallow. And part of that is, I think the writers themselves are not terribly interested in doing this, but they're doing it anyway. And some of it is just the comics are, there's no longevity to comics. So they're doing limited series. There's no chance to build up any kind of momentum around some of these characters. But it is like a company saying, we support Pride Month. And they plastered the rainbow flag on various products, and they'll do, Stanley tape measures and tools present Pride Month. You can now get a tape measure that has a rainbow sticker on one side of the tape measure, and this says you support the LGBTQ community. And as long as you're not measuring what a woman is, right? No, I'm kidding. But that act allows people to virtue signal, whatever you want to call it, and say, look, we're doing lots to support this community, but the lots never seems to equate to time plus money. Those things are not on the table. And they should be. I think that is ultimately what a lot of communities, a lot of people need. They need, resources. It's in Seattle, there was this thing that always drove me crazy, where the shelters for abused women. These are women who are, or they're in some kind of relationship, and they need a place to escape to get out of an abusive relationship. So it's like a halfway house kind of situation. And the members of the Seattle City Council would often talk about how important this stuff is, how critical this stuff is, but would never fund it, help support it, direct attention to it. And at one point during one of the council meetings, one of these shelters came up and basically wanted to use some airtime to say, hey, we're running out of money. Please, can somebody give us money? Not even the government, just donations. And they denied the request to get airtime, not even give them cash. So it's like, there's things that I think people need and support people need, but if you say I support it, but you don't actually do anything to support it, then what is that? Is that it's virtue signaling, it's hypocrisy, it's a bunch of stuff. And overall in comics, there is a lot of, we need strong, important women characters. We want empowered female characters. We want, but then they'll cancel titles with very little warning. They'll give the creators on those titles like 3-month contracts and, keep them, on such a short leash, nothing can really be done. They won't put the bigger artistic talent on those books. They, and kind of go on and on and on. And when you look at something like what's going on in New Mutants right now, both from the Vita era to kind of I think Danny Lore did some books, and now we've got, they're doing the trans character they introduced in Pride, and you look at it, and it's clearly not a serious effort. Somewhere along the line, Marvel's like, hey, let's just do a lot of the LGBTQ stuff in here. We'll just New Mutants could, that's like younger, appeals to younger peeps. Sure, why not? We'll go for it. And so they just have kind of crammed all the stuff into that title. But again, no real promotion, no real artistic talent on the book. No offense to the people drawing it, but I mean, you're not name people. I'm sure a lot of people are very nice people, but you're not big name people that are going to bring attention, therefore increase the readership. They're do the agenda that they're claiming they want to do. So, like with I don't agree. I don't think Sandra Kane had been built up. Maybe I'm wrong. You could tell me in the comments below, but I don't think Sandra Kane was built up to be the shit of the Batman heir apparent, but certainly a beloved character. And on top of everything else, I think, and I see this at Marvel and DC a lot, is they'll say, "Hey, we want to, what's important to us is indigenous people or Latino people or African American people or the LGBTQ community or whatever." They'll say they're interested in this, and then they'll like make a big here's a brand new character and they're getting a brand new series, and here's Riri Williams, and Riri Williams is going to be mildly autistic. I get is it autistic or Asperger's? Is that they kind of flirted with the idea that she had I think it was autism. I maybe I'm wrong. And African American young female character, all the rest. And then they if this is important to you, if this is a key part of what you're doing, then what you got to do, you got to commit. Which means that if the comic comes out and it's got like 6 issues, 8 issues, and then it gets canceled or it's a limited series, you are not committing. Committing means you're like, you know what, fuck it, we're going to lose money on this comic, but we're in it for 5 years. So put some money into it, artistic talent, writing talent, and long-term storylines and planning, and Alex Ross covers, and this is important, right? You say this woman character is an important representation for our company and for the market. So, you know what? We're not even going to think about canceling this thing for 5 years. Here you go. Do it. I would welcome that move, because then at least what people are saying is what they're actually doing. And by the way, you have a far greater chance of that character being successful and winning over readers if there's actually a comic in the market with a consistent creative team telling big stories to do that. You have to commit to the bit. This Marvel, that's picked up some sales, was okay. At the beginning, it had kind of a growing following. One of the only reasons that character is still around today, and Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, has been dramatically deprioritized at Marvel. But one of the reasons why that character is around today is because she had a long run. They gave her a comic and they stuck with it. Same thing with Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl also not around today, but they stuck with Squirrel Girl for years. And it's not like she became the most popular character ever, but way, way more successful than Ironheart, the uncancelable Wasp by that terrible writer. It's got the various things that have gone on. You gotta commit. So anyway, thank you for the mail. And I would say all the funny pot shots at various people, but I mean, I like Sasha. I think Sasha's great. Anyway, thanks for listening.